make sure that your name is on this. Remember, this will get turned in. If you did not turn in your packet or review with your quiz yesterday, make sure you're finishing those up and turning those in. Elijah, do you need to sit somewhere else? We might have to go back to assigned seats. We'll see how we do today. All right. So the perimeter, the sum of the side measures around a two-dimensional figure. So we're finding the sum, which means we're just adding up the sides. Oh yeah.
Because I need to go to the bathroom and I want to think about the bathroom.
All right. Well, the sooner we get through this, the sooner you can go to the bathroom. All of these sides are the same. So the perimeter of a square is 4 times what that is, and it is 9. Not with perimeter. So the perimeter of this square is how many feet? 36 feet.
36 sides. 36.
For a rectangle, the perimeter, 2 sides are the same size, right? 7.3. And 2 more sides are the other, 16.8. So here, I would say this perimeter is equal to 14.6 and 33.6. If you sat in the back, you should probably make sure you can see well from the back. All right. So if I'm adding these up, 6 and 6 make 12 tenths. So I would carry a 1 to the ones place. 3, 4 plus 4 is 8. There's a decimal here. 3 and 1 make 4. Anybody get something else? Check my math for me. Oh, those are meters, not feet. Sorry. So same with parallelograms. Parallelograms are the same. We have 2 that are 16 plus 2 that are 27.5. So we have 32 plus, oh boy, this is 2.5 more than 25. So 55. So here our perimeter is 87, and these are in millimeters.
What is my
All right. Here, none of them are the same. So we're just adding them all up. The perimeter of this triangle is 17 plus 15 plus 8. So this perimeter is, well, 17 plus 8 is 25. 25 plus 15 is 40. 40 yards. Do you see how they have marked these? All of these sides are the same. That's what this means. This side has 1 and this side has 1, so that's the same. And this side has 2 and that side has 2, so those sides are the same. So that means we can assume that there are 2 of the same sides. So we have to multiply them. Well, here They always throw in some fractions for y'all, right? So if we have 2 times 4 2/3 plus 6 1/3. Well, 4/3 would become another whole, and then 8 plus 1 makes 9. You can definitely write this out better though. It would make more sense to say 3 times 4 is 12, 14 thirds times 2 would be 28 thirds. 28 divided by 3 would be 9, remainder 1. I know it's not nice of them to do that to you, but. So here we have 15 2/3, right? 9 and 6 makes 15. 1/3 and 1/3 make 2/3. So do you want me to keep stopping and make this take longer because you're running your mouse? Yeah, I get that. So 12.5 here, we're adding them all up. 12.5 plus 3.7 plus, don't forget we have 2 of those 9. So 2 times 9. We're just going to call that 18 right away. We're adding them all up. Typically, I would say line them up. At this point, you might just be better off to throw them into a calculator, but this becomes 12/10, so I would carry a 1. I have 2, 3, plus 3 more is 6, plus this 18. So 6 and 8 is 14. So I'm carrying a 10. So I have 1, 2, 3, 34.2. And this is in meters. This was in inches. All right, so that's perimeter. We're just adding them. Area, however, this is the amount of space occupied a truck. The amount of space occupied by a 2-dimensional figure. Better take some attendance. Hey. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Our first equation, guys, is the area of a square. So we say A is equal to S squared. S to the second power. Remember, this means S times S. 2 factors of S when S is the side. So here, our area is equal to 5 squared. Is this 5 times 2? No, remember this means 2 factors of that base. Elijah, I'm going to ask you to leave. Can you stop? I've now asked you twice. So 2 factors of 5 is 5 times 5, which is what? 25. And then the thing you need to remember with your units, when we have meters times meters, we have square meters, which we can write as meters squared. Okay? Is number 8 a square as well? Yes, so we can use our calculators to practice this. 8.1 squared. I think your best shortcut would be to take your calculator. If you put 8.1 in, can't make it darker without covering it up. You can see my reflection in that top thing, that's creepy. All right, if you put that 8.1 in, there's this x squared button. Da da da. 8.1 times 8.1 will come out now as 65 and 61 hundredths. Sorry, inches times inches is square inches or inches squared. We can abbreviate it that way. All right, that's squares. They're pretty easy. Rectangles, we use a cursive L times W. Sometimes we don't use the dot. We can just say LW. Remember, two letters next to each other denote multiplication. Why do you think we make a cursive L instead of just a regular L? A regular L would just look like a 1, right? A 1W, that's not helpful. So we have to take our length, which is 13, times our width, which is 4 here. So here we have, what's 12 times 4? Well, 12 times 4 is 48. So 4 more is 52. Because we want 13 fours, not 12 fours. I don't know my 13s. Do you know your 13s? All right, feet times feet gives us square feet. We write it as feet squared. All right, another rectangle. So length times width. We have 6.2 times 11.5. So I could just say 6.2 times 11.5. We have 71 and 3/10. This is square centimeters that we write as centimeters squared. Ooh. All right, are you ready for this one? These are always the trickiest. So, the area of a parallelogram is equal to the base times the height. Okay. All right, so our base, we figure out our base by where our right angle is made into. So since this is where our right angle is made into, this is going to be our base. So this is equal to our base. Our height is going to be what is making the right angle. So these are definitely the trickiest because it's not our sides that are labeled, at least not in the case of the height. All right, so here we have 9 times 5.3. 9 times 5.3. 47 and 7/10. And this is square kilometers. I'm just going to make note that we're still waiting on you to stop talking.
That's cool. I'm still waiting to be checked out for
Kilometers squared. All right, square kilometers. Here, which one of these is our base? 13. Notice this right here is hitting that base. It's really weird. I'm not a fan of parallelograms. Unless it's a rectangle. All right, so here my area is the base, which is 13, times the height. Which one's the height? 11. Very good. So, 130 plus another 13 is 143. 1, 4, 3. And this is another square foot, feet squared. All right, so pretty straightforward. You're just following the same pattern. This is how we find the perimeter. This is how we find the area sort of deals. Here is a couple more practices with the area of a parallelogram. So again, our base is where the height runs into. So that's going to be that 8.6 times the height. So that is the 6.5. So for figuring that out, we've got 8.6 times 6.5, 55, and 9/10, and this is square meters. Here for 14, our base is where the 90-degree angle is going into, so that's 15 times our height, which is that 8.6. So 15 times 8.6 is 129. And this is, looks like miles squared, square miles. It's a big honking parallelogram. All right, 2 more formulas we've got to get through. Area of a triangle, anybody remember? It's a little bit like your parallelogram. This area is going to be 1/2 the base times the height. So here our area is equal to 1/2 times what our base is. What's our base? Good. And what is our height? 17. What's half of 14? 7 times 17. 119 maybe? 7 times 17. 119. So this is 119 feet squared. Turn around face. So we're going to continue to use that same formula. 1/2 times the base. What's the base? Yep. And what's the height? 10. So here I might think 1/2 of 10 is 5. So 5 times that, but you can throw it in if you want. 1/2 I can use as a decimal. I could divide by 2. Either way, I'd probably just say 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 5 times that gives me 52.5. And this is inches squared.
I say 0.5.
Yep, that's what I said too.
It's easier to write in the fraction box.
Here it gets a little tricky because we got to pay attention, right? So here, I still have 1/2. My base, remember, is where that square is going into, which is 18.5. I made too small of a brackets there. And then here my height is that 13.1. So I would multiply through. I'd probably multiply and then divide by 2. So I would say 18.5 times 13.1. And then I would divide that by 2. So this would be 121 and 175 thousandths millimeters squared.
Oh my God, these
Thousandths of a millimeter, that would be a very small amount. So same thing with number 18. What is my base? Yes. And what is my height? Mm-hmm. So again, I would multiply 9.8 times 33.6, and then I would divide it by 2. So here the area is equal to 164 and 64/100 yards squared. All right, last final formula that you need here. And this is the trickiest of them all. Are you ready? The area of a trapezoid is equal to 1/2 the height times the sum of the bases. We show that by saying B1 plus B2. 1/2 the height times the sum of the bases. So if I'm looking at 19, I have 1/2 times the height. What's the height?
9.1.
Nope. Remember?
Oh, 7.
Yes, 7. All right, so I have 2 bases. I have this 5.5 and I have this 13.7. So I have the sum of the bases. So I would say 3.5 times this sum. So 19.2 is going to be 67.2. And this is meters squared. So these are definitely way trickier. We have to take 1/2 the height. What's the height here? This is weird.
21.
Yep. 1/2 the height times the sum of the bases. Whatever this height is going into, the 24 plus the 39.3 become the bases. So I would add up my bases. 24 plus 39.3 is 63.3. And then 1/2 of 21 divided by 2 is 10.5. Sorry, it's super bright. I might have to turn the light on. 10.5. So when I multiply 10.5 times 63.3, I get my answer, which is 664 and 65/100, and this is feet squared or square feet. 664 and 65/100. That might be words. I don't know. 664 and, so that's where your decimal goes, 65/100. All right, so here we have the area is equal to 1/2 times the height. What's the height? 10. Yep. Wait, you're right. You were right the first time. 9.2. 9.2 because our height is this thing that's going into the right angle symbol, times the sum of the bases. So I have 6, and then I have 14. So I would find the sum here. So I would add them up. This is 20. So I really just have 10 times 9.2, which is 92.
Yeah.
92 centimeters squared. All right, this one's turned again. You have to be able to recognize what is the height. What's the height? Nope. Nope. Those were two bases.
20.5.
20.5. Remember, that's where that line is with the right triangles or the right angle symbol. 20.5 is my height. So my bases are that 7.2 plus 24.8. So 7.2 plus 24.8 is 32. Half of that is 16 times 20.5. So divided by 2 times 20.5 is 328. And that is inches squared. All right, so those are it for notes today. We're doing pages 1 and 2, and then we are doing page 5. So you're jumping to page 5. This is page 5. Starts like this.
Yeah.
All right, page 5, refer back to those notes for those formulas, implement them,